Hi guys and welcome to the show. Is my fro huge? It is getting so big. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wear my fro much longer. Oh my goodness, it's getting so long. But I'm going to try. You see it's like beyond the um it's beyond the camera. If I pull it up too much. Okay. All right. Pat pat pat. Those of you from the old school, you know that you pat the fro down. My little white friends are coming out. I've got to cover those pretty soon. Um, but anyways, let's get to the questions. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Question. I stopped off with the question, and she talked about how much she loved the videos and things like that. And she had a question. She said, if you have damaged your hair while you were relaxing your hair, is it permanent damage? And answer that question first. No. When you damage your hair with relaxing, that hair is going to shed off or break off or be cut away. As long as you don't damage your follicle, you're okay. The next part of the question, she said, I've burned my scalp countless of times trying to relax my hair myself. How long does it take for the scalp to recover from such trauma? It gets pretty serious when you speak of STP. Okay. It gets pretty serious when you speak of burning your scalp, because when you think about scalp burns with chemicals, you could either have a first degree or second degree or beyond third degree. Heaven forbid. First degree is epidermis. That means you've damaged the top skin. You have not gotten to the area where the follicle begins to develop, the bulb and the derma papilla in those areas. So you're okay. You can recover from that. The skin is renewing itself on a continuous basis. So you're going to recover in about, say, 30 days, making sure that you keep that environment. Now, if it's a first degree, it's a possibility that with your clarifiers, your clean, acidic, stimulated, hydrated environment you always hear me speak of, you will be okay. When you get to a second degree, that's when the danger becomes. That means both the epidermis and the dermis is affected by it. Now, how do you know if you've got a first or second degree? It's the first degree, you burn, your skin is a little tender, you possibly dry out, you're a little red or irritated, but that's all. Second degree, you're going to feel the oozing, the bleeding, sometimes bleeding, for sure the oozing. That means you burn your epidermis off and you're in the dermis. There are no blood vessels in the epidermis, so when you get to that point where you're oozing and all that, then you're in the dermis. The danger to that is the derma papilla, the follicle, the tube-like impression, the portion where the hair is developed, that's affected. So when that occurs, then there's danger of losing the hair permanently. You will need to see a dermatologist at that point, so be careful. Now, just make sure that, and you could lose the hair, you could scar, and so there are lots of things that can happen. But if you have only burn on the surface, then it will recover. Our skin will renew itself. Be careful. Let's just remember too, burning comes from a sensitive scalp. A sensitive scalp comes from a damaged scalp. Too often we're relaxing damaged scalp. 10 to 12 weeks, new growth only, cleaning and conditioning a couple of times a week, inside of 7 days for sure. No extended dryer times, making sure that we have our flaky scalps under control. Don't relax hair when the scalp is sensitive. Be careful, guys. Be careful. Okay, next question. Dr. Akbari, why do I have bulbs? Let's see, why do I have bulbs that are sometimes big and sometimes small from shedded hair? I am still noticing some thicker strands are breaking off without a bulb. I assume it could be from the bobby pins or other hair accessories I may be using improperly. Okay. Well, it's a learning process. Don't be so hard on yourself. We're going to talk. I got a bump at the nape of my head due to head due to the hair being pulled too tight. How does the bump form? It would seem like the hair would just break off. You just thought you'd get all your questions in, didn't you? That's okay. That's what I'm here for. So let's go back to the first one. She wanted to know, why do you have hair bulbs that are sometimes big, sometimes small? The hair bulb itself is just wrapping around that whole area where the follicle is, the derma papilla. So they're all in there in the same area. So depending on the size of the strand, that's going to determine the size of your bulb. Also, if you are shedding prematurely, you can have a smaller bulb. So you want to have those reds. If you are shedding excessively, like lots of bulbs, you're noticing that, then you want to have them red. You mentioned the breaking off. You're also noticing that your hair is breaking off without the bulb. Well, that's a clear break. So if you have coarse strands and they're doing that, then you want to raise your moisture levels up, because that sounds like those clear breaks sounds like dehydrated hair. It says, I assume it could be from the bobby pins. You got to make sure that bobby pins are not a problem long as you're not pulling the hair. If you put a bobby pin on, lay down on it, and it pulls back and forth, like some women wear these French rolls all week, then that's a problem. That could be a major problem. It could be too much traction, so it'll cause the hair to break. Okay, so pay attention to that. Let's see. It says, she has another question. It says, I got a bump on my nape, at the nape of my head due to the hair being pulled. Yeah, that's what I just spoke about. That's stress on the follicle, and that will cause a pimple type. Under the microscope, you know what it looks like? It looks like the skin is turning inside out. So you've got the follicle that's here, and it turns out when all that pulling. So it really is dangerous. You could damage the skin permanently. So be really careful, guys. No pulling. How does the bump form? It would seem like the hair would just break off. Well, the skin has elasticity, and the bump is just the skin swelling from all the pressure. Okay, so over a period of time, the hair will break, but initially it's going to try to stretch. The skin and the hair has elasticity. You don't want it to break. Okay, so be careful. And it's really important, if you're going to wear your hair pulled up, use your leave-in conditioners. Make sure that there's not a lot of stress on the hair. Most of you want it to hold, but really, as most African Americans, we think that if we pull tighter, it's going to hold better. With our braids, with our French rolls, it doesn't matter. With our twists, that doesn't mean that. If you're trying to have a neat look and hold, then the best way to do it is to, once you form the area, don't pull it, smooth it down with a sculpting lotion on relaxed hair mud with natural hair, spray it down, both of them with a sculpting mist, then tie it down, and it will lay flat, and it will hold. You don't have to pull it to make it hold, okay? All right, next question. Is it bad if I like my twist, my natural hair to stay in 3 weeks, washing and conditioning 2 weeks? I apply a silicone-based conditioner, finger comb, then comb with a wide tooth comb. I can't manipulate my hair as often as others. Otherwise, I wouldn't retain any length. Wow. Okay. First, a question. Is it bad for my twist, my natural stay in 3 weeks? I don't recommend that, because you really need to take the hair down and shampoo. When you speak of shampooing and conditioning every 2 weeks, so are you shampooing and conditioning on top of the hair? She mentioned she applies silicone-based conditioner. Okay. Well, first, I definitely do not recommend that you keep them up 3 weeks. It's way too much pressure on the follicle, and the hair will begin to do what we call webbing. 2 weeks you can, but you need to shampoo between those times. 3 weeks you can, but you need to shampoo and deep condition between those times as well. Because people wear braids. We have braid programs. People wear braids for 6 weeks. But if you're talking about twisting the hair, it depends on the style because the webbing can occur. Now that I've thoroughly confused you, let me explain. When you wear any type of twist or braids or weave or anything that's got the hair bound to the head, then you must get in there and clean. So in 3 days, you get into the shower, lots of rinsing, get your clarifier, rub it between the twists, then lots of rinsing, your conditioner, put it on between the twists. Try to squeeze it into the hair, especially if you have extensions. Squeeze it in so that you can get to your hair. Because it's extended hair is usually treated to stay a certain way. Okay. The next thing you want to do is let that sit for 60 seconds, rinse off. Towel blot, put in your leave-in conditioners, tie it down so you don't web. So leave-in conditioners, moisturizers, oils. Oil between the twists, make sure you got your scalp lubricated, your hair shaft, tie it down, everything's neat and clean. Otherwise, I just think you need to take them down. You mentioned that you have a problem with retaining length when you work with your hair a lot because people tend to detangle. You mentioned you finger comb, then comb. Well, you don't finger comb until your fingers and thumb smooth out. The finger is a test to see if there's any tangles. As long as there's no tangles, then you can finger comb because the fingers are still like a comb. It's just a human comb. It's better because you can feel, but it's still a comb. Okay. All right. Yeah, you'll be fine. It sounds like you've got some good things going here. I don't want to change it. I'm not too impressed with silicone-based conditioners because they tend to cause a negative buildup. They just don't rinse as clean. So that would be my next thing I'd say no to. All right, it says, hi, Miss Lisa. I have 3 questions. Number 1, what are some at-home food products that I can mix together to create deep moisturizing protein conditioners? I don't give that advice. I'm sorry. I just think there are things on the market today. There's nothing that we really have to do at home. I'd love to help you with that. There's just not, because what I'm finding with a lot of the things that we're using, the food products, they are not rinsing clean. We're not able to get the balance. And I just don't think they're as effective. The weights of the food, the molecules are too large, so we're not getting the penetration. So I don't know. I don't have that advice. Sorry. What is a good clarifying shampoo? That's question number 2. To use found in beauty supply stores. If you're trying to find one in the beauty supply store, you want to look at the front of the bottle, then the back of the bottle. Front, it should say clarifier. Usually they will say it. Back of the bottle, you want to look for that pH, 4.5 to 5.5. Or you can go on my website. I have a great clarifier. Next question. I don't trim often anymore. Instead, I just properly take care of my hair. Can this decrease my split ends? Yes. I don't trim often either. You can have see, I have the curly, so you'll see the little areas, but I'm getting length. See, I'm length beyond length. You see how long this hair is. You're fine. I'm proud of you. That's great. Okay. The last question, it says, hi, Doc. I have a big problem. Lately, I noticed my hair shedding in a very large amount. I know that I'm supposed to shed 50 to 100 strands, more 80 to 100, 150 strands a day. Not 50 to 100. But anyways, it says, but I comb, it seems to be like hundreds each time I comb. Even if I comb or brush 3 times a day. Wow. Hair's in the sink. I don't understand. My hair was never thick, but it has gotten thinner than before. What should I do or use? Can you help me? I'm getting frustrated with it. I feel like should keep. I'm just trying to understand what she's saying here. I feel that I need to cut it off. Currently, my hair is shoulder length. Okay, you don't have to cut your hair off. When you're getting hair every time you comb, that simply means that, got a little alfalfa look. That simply means that you are losing layers. If you have some length, but the hair is thin, you probably have developed, it sounds like, I can't say it without examining, short hair syndrome stage 2. Short hair syndrome stage 2 means that the hair has length, but it's thin. So that may be the case. So we want to be careful with that, okay? So be careful to deep condition. Be careful not to brush or comb through tangles. You might have to have an analysis. I would like to read those strands. Go on my website at lisaakbari.com. Go scroll all the way down where it says hair analysis. Click on that. Fill out the form. Send in your strands. Let me read them. Thanks a lot, guys. I love you. To God be the glory in Jesus. Keep those questions coming. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.